to go. All right. Heidi ho team. It looks very much like we are now live on YouTube. Thank goodness for small mercies. And thank you everyone for all the wonderful messages that you've been sending me since I've been up here in Sydney town, waiting for all fury to be unleashed from the skies at the moment. And sorry about the late start. It's a bit of a login issue that we have from time to time, and of course my IP address is not showing up and therefore it doesn't recognise me and all sorts of things. Thank you very much, Sui, Dennis and all. It's wonderful to be back, I've got to say. And to those who do know why I was away, my poor old mum, who's 92 years of age, is pretty much, was supposed to have passed away last week, not this weekend just gone, but the weekend before. And the tough old bird that she's hanging on for dear life, and spent a fair bit of time with her over the last week or so, which has been pretty wonderful, really. And I guess in summary, there's been no time wasted. It's all been good. She's bounced back. You might have guessed from that near miss. Or I'm not sure it's a miss actually, because she will leave us in the next little bit for sure. But we'll have to probably come back at some stage. But I've got to go home tomorrow, and I'm still in Sydney on a laptop, which is probably going to be a little bit messy here. So bear with me. Yeah, thanks, Helen. Thank you very much indeed. It was a bit of a blessing, I've got to say. Yes, absolutely, Dennis. 92 and still not out. There you go, still carrying the bat. As a result of all that, I'm way behind on what's going on in terms of world events and markets and all things trading. And thank goodness we've got very, very wonderful people in our organisation that can, at the drop of a hat, go down to Woolworths and get a TV dinner for their kids.
It's not TV dinner. Oh, no. It's roast lamb.
Oh, wonderful. Roast lamb. There you go. You can get anything Wally's apparently. So I'm actually going to say g'day to Ainsley and defer to her a little bit to keep me updated with what's going on around the world. I absolutely get that COVID-19 is still front and centre. And if you live in Florida, my goodness, what a woeful number that was overnight. With
15,000, Jeff.
Yeah,
15,000.
just amazing, eh? What's
and
going on there? I don't
Disney
know.
World is open. 15,000, and they open Disney World and have an anti-mask activist rally at a restaurant.
Yeah, what can one
Good
say?
on 'em. Where do you go with that?
I have no idea, except I suppose it won't help the US dollar, I wouldn't think. And therefore, that's the only thing I'm coming back with at the moment is I've probably got a bullish attitude against everything against the US dollar, but I did have before I left. So on that score, not much has changed. The only thing that didn't happen is we didn't hit, or the US dollar index didn't hit my 98 mark, but it looks like it has turned around. It is on the way back down, what I've gathered in the last little bit. So, what do you reckon? Oh, actually, I should place the pound trade before we go any further, shouldn't I, guys?
Does it?
I should do that. Looks like we're too late. That's the early chart. Hang on, we may not be. So we've got. Oh no, we're still in the game here. Right. So what, Ainsley, you probably don't know about this. We trade a breakout strategy. Well, we haven't formed a strategy actually. We're in beta test mode. And the way I'm approaching this is I take the last 3 hourly bars prior to London session.
Yeah.
I take the low and I take the high,
Yep.
and we trade 10 pips below and we trade 15 pips above. So we better place this trade. And I don't have my usual EA, which gives me the automatic levels. So it'll be a little bit laborious as usual.
You really flying blind.
Unbelievable, isn't it? 126.49 becomes 126.39, guys. So 126.39 is going to be your entry for the short, if it'll allow me to do that, because we're very, very close to it. It's a sell stop. And my computer has just gone dead. Hope that doesn't last. 126.39 might just get in. And stop loss. Haven't got the high there. 126.66 becomes 126.81. Oh, I think we're going to miss it. And there we go. We're okay. All right. So they're the parameters. It looks like the short is going to be triggered. If not soon, then it doesn't really matter. There's our stop loss for the short and our entry for, well, I'm going to put the entry for the long in case it takes off, which will be, I'll go away.
Click the box. So you
What'd you say?
take either side of that.
Yep. Did you say pick a box?
Oh, tick a box.
I know what you said. Do you remember Bob Dyer and Dolly Dyer?
I remember hearing about it with Pick a Box a
Yes.
little bit before my time, honey bunny.
It was a little bit before your time, certainly not bore mine. Righto, there we go. So we've got a long order at 126.81, which is also the stop loss for the short, which is at 126.39. Now we don't, guys, those of you who, of course, have been following this will know that we are due to analyse the previous 3 months of data that we've been compiling on the previous way to manage this this breakout trade. Today we are trailing on a 1 hour chart, so we won't go down a couple of time frames like we have been. We'll simply trail 2 bars on a 1 hour chart. So if we get triggered short, we'll trail 2 seller bars. If we get triggered long, we'll trail 2 buy bars. Those of you who don't know what that means, simply when we get triggered in, say this candle triggered us into the market long, we don't count the bar that triggers us in, we count the next 2 bars. So if we got exactly as we have here, triggered in with that bar, then the next 2 bars are buyer bars. We trail our stops from where they were to underneath the buyer bars. And then we would follow that until we get taken out. So we look for another 2 buyer bars, which are here. So we move our stop from here to here, and so on and so forth. So we'd still be trailing our stop from yesterday if that was the case, until we got to there. So we would now be taken out in a profit, not a big one, but in profit nonetheless. So that's the beta strategy, guys. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you all who've sent their sentiments over the past week or so. It's been marvellous. All right, so here's the plan for this session. I've got to catch up, and I will have a look at the majors as I always do, and anything that you guys are wanting us to have a squiz at, we will do, absolutely. But I'm going to have a little chat to Ainsley now and ask her in the last week what the bloody hell has happened. Anything? And when I look at the charts, I don't think too much has happened, to be fair.
Not a lot, actually. You could start with dollar yen and just throw your hands up and just say, I've missed nothing. But we've had gold hit 1800, so I was really happy about that, as you can imagine. But being
I
around
can't imagine that.
You can imagine that?
You've been long gold. Why would you do that?
Why would I be long gold? I've been long gold for very long. It must have been, the last day, came down the last shower or something, But yeah, I think, pretty pleased we got to 1800. It's obviously been quite volatile around that level. So it's bumped up and down and around and around and all the rest of it. So it's had a bit of a wow of a time. At the moment, it's just climbing back up again over 1800. It's a lot of sentiment, and it comes down to, as Julian can give me all the reasons why gold should be going down, and the cost of gold and how much gold's being sold, and the commercial traders, the commitment of traders is the commercials, and da 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 da. And every time he says it, it goes up. So, which is driving him insane, because he likes to have rationale behind his thoughts. And what is really driving it is gold's just that safe haven. You've got the largest economy, or the most powerful. Well, that's the thing. Is China the most powerful, or is the US the most powerful?
Well, it's a photo finish.
It's a real photo finish at the moment, and we've got one poking the bear all the time, and he's not looking very flash this last week and a half, because of the way he's mishandled coronavirus in the States, because it's just a passing flu thing,
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, we've got a handle on this, and it's all going to go away.
I see he's masked up now, though.
Oh, well, you would, as he said, he was going to a hospital.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was going to a military hospital I think it was in Washington, and that's why he wore his mask. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So,
well,
but you put
that's
that
something,
on top
some
of
concession.
else. It is a concession. At least he's put one on, and I think it had the presidential seal on it or something ridiculous. But anyway, one of the things, or the major thing, is that gold, it's your basic safe haven in times like this, when everything looks like it's just going to down the drain. Because, as you know, Victoria has a small issue, and we're getting a few more breakouts in Sydney as well, and nobody is happy about the idea of getting locked down again for another 6 weeks.
It kind of begs the question, and I won't dwell on this point, but to get to Sydney, I had to fly through Melbourne, because there are no direct flights from Hobart for whatever reason. And I guess due to lack of traffic, because to put you guys in the picture, Hobart's pretty much a tourist destination. And there isn't any way you can get into Tasmania at the moment, unless you're a Tasmanian, of course. So to get back to Tasmania, I've got a choice. I wait until there's a flight that's probably a freight flight, but they do allow passengers on, which is what I've had to do, or go back through Melbourne Airport and sit in Melbourne Airport for about 15 hours or so, and wait to get a plane to Hobart, which I'm not prepared to do. So that's the weird and wonderful world of aeroplanes at the moment, I guess.
Because most people who have come back from overseas are the ones that have been carrying the virus. So obviously they've got to go through Melbourne, it's domestic airport. But even so, those airports just seem to be, you want to spray yourself in your own little hand sanitizer, I think.
Yeah, no, I want to be there.
Yeah. So I think, to be realistic, when you've got countries like India and Brazil, the US, Sweden, so many countries are who've taken a bit of a laissez-faire attitude towards, or in fairness, some of the countries haven't had the ability or the resources to be able to test for COVID. What that's doing to their economies is just breaking it down. So how that...
And doing a very good job of it, I might add.
Yeah. And, you look at that and you just go, well, you know what? The rest of the world sitting here saying, okay, we look like we had it under control. New Zealand, okay, they've got it a lot better under control than we ever did. But what that means is, hey, are we all going to go back into lockdown again? Is this a second wave that's coming hurtling at us? All that kind of stuff. So that's one of the reasons gold is just holding strong. So we've had a lot of reports out this last week where it said that gold will take us, it should stabilize at 1,800 and then keep moving forward, and somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 by the end of the year.
Wow, amazing, isn't it? I'll just keep interrupting, by the way, and answer questions that are coming through on YouTube, so that we don't have
see that.
No, I can miraculously with one laptop. No, I've actually got my wife's as well. Melbourne getting a fence around. I should just ring Donald and say, Donald, you got any bricks left to go in the wall, please? See if he can help me out there.
Yes.
What do I think? Sino, hi, Waiwai. It's lovely to have you on board. Great to see you in the show.
Waiwai's on board?
Yep, Waiwai's here.
Excellent.
Good to have you on board, as it is everyone, of course. What do I think of Euro Aussie on the M30 for a long on slingshot from Sino? Don't like it, Sino, just yet. I need to wait. I can see where you're coming from, but I do like the fact that we're at the bottom of this immediate range that we've got here. But I've got to see this get back above that trend line and the daily pivot before I take it on. But if I did see that, if price got up to here and then pull back to the confluence area, then you're talking. I wouldn't mind that. Obviously, you've got take profit areas there. You've got to take some profit. That would be one there. I'll just isolate that level for you. 162.57. So let's say you got in. If you want to be really adventurous, you could get in back on the confluence area. I wouldn't be doing that. I don't think it depends on the bars, but I'd like to see a take profit level here. If you're talking 30-minute chart, you know you've got to be thinking maybe 6 to 10 pips of first take profit. It could be there. I'd have to see the setup, but I definitely want to be taking profit before 162.61. And then, of course, you want to take a second profit around about 162.88. So let's say you've got maybe a 8 to 10 pip bar to trade. Your first take profit's probably going to be around about 6 pips, something like that. That would be fine. And then your second take profit or target would be around about that 26 pip mark. So you probably get 3 to 1 times 0.5. You probably get 1.5 to 1 trading that way to that level. But first things first, we've got to get the setup, and it's not there for me just now. I'll just have a quick look and see if we've got any other questions, before I come back to you.
I was laughing with Ash last week because I did the London show with Ash. No, not the London, the US show last.
The US show,
yeah. Like, yeah, the US show, and I was just like, oh, we're down on 5-minute charts and 15-minute charts. And I was like, oh, I'm in voodoo land. I don't come down into frontier land at all.
He's an adventurous young chap.
Oh, he just cracked me up. We were flipping through the FTSE, and he went from monthly to weekly, and then says, "Yep, okay, I'm in on a 5-minute chart." I said, "I just missed 3 steps."
Yeah, it takes a while to get onto the way Ash trades. I love it though. He's super good at picking the direction it's going to go next. No question about that.
Yeah. No, it's very different to the way I trade, and it's always good to, like I said, I'm in territory I don't go here.
Yeah, look, we have a ball with each other's styles and trying to work them out.
Yeah.
And he'll say to me, "Oh, you'll be looking at a long setup here." I'll say, "No, short," and vice versa, because we're pretty crazy with directions. They're not necessarily what you would call the common way to go.
No. And I'm a slightly more. I'll take a bigger position, but I'll take it I'll be looking at a longer term.
Sweet, sorry, I just noticed your question about voice. Can you hear me okay, Ash? Ainsley, sorry.
Sorry, what do I need?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Everyone else okay? I guess it would be a bit hollow because I'm on a weird microphone system here. So I apologise for that. I hope it's bearable for you. And
it's a bit tinny. That'd be about it. But I can hear you.
Okay, I'll try another set for the US show. Euro dollar. Let's go back to there. 113.60 again, eh? Pretty
Yeah, look at
reliable,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's just going sideways. That's why I said you haven't missed anything on the euro or the yen or anything. The only thing that's caused me great excitement this week was gold.
Okay. One thing I am in is dollar CAD still. That's going okay. I guess you guys are still in that. That's the trade I gave you before. I think I was in it well before I went. I can't remember where I got in now. Been in that one for quite some time. No, seriously, I can't. I've got absolutely no idea. I'll have to.
You're all over this, Jeff. You've got a really good handle, buddy.
Well, I think I was in 6 trades when I got called away, and I tightened all the stops up, and most of them got hit, of course. But this one's still going, and I want to know from anybody, why is the Aussie rallying against the Kiwi? That's what I want to know, because I'm in the Aussie Kiwi short.
Yeah, that would be because Paul Hutton said last night he's definitely sure that it's going to go short. I reckon that would be about the only reason.
Is that it?
He voodooed it. Yep, he did. But Aussie's rallied. It's a little socks off. There's a little bit more stimulus spending. Second wave has hit. They're expecting that to just bolster things a little bit.
Yeah, I'm.
Whether that is the reason.
It is reduced, of course. Yeah, that looks a little bit ominous.
That's a bit of a strong move, isn't it?
Mm.
And the Kiwi's gone nowhere in comparison. So the Aussie's bounced. The Aussie Kiwi obviously has bounced, and the Kiwi's gone zippity doo dah.
Yeah, I'm still basing my my analysis on, and I think this is a weekly trade, weekly chart. I think I do remember that one. Yeah, we traded this bar here. So my analysis is still the same, and it's telling me that we're coming off a big double top, and we've got a lower high. I can't really say we've got a lower low. Maybe we do now. So yeah, I'm not changing my mind.
Lower low.
Yeah. I think we're still in the game here, guys, and it is a false break of.
Or are you bouncing off support there? Look at that line. There's the previous bar on the weekly is looking a little bit strong on the support area.
Hang on a second. Well, to me, that's a pretty decent indication that there's a descending triangle here. So I'm okay with it. Oh, there is support here, a little bit of support. Yeah. I get that. But you're not going to go straight down.
I know. How many times do you just want it to go from A to B and just be a vertical line?
Well, every single time, of course. That's what.
Do you know how long I've had to wait?
Trade 30 charts.
I've had to wait a long time for the gold to get to 1800. I've been bleating on about that since it was at 1525.
Yeah, it's taken its time, hasn't it?
Oh, its own sweet time, hasn't it? But we got there.
We're probably waiting for wave number 2 to start kicking.
Yeah, like I tell you what.
Right.
At least we got there. So yeah, there's been a few things. You haven't missed much in the market, apart from obviously you're still in some trades you didn't know about.
Stop it. I must have a look at where I got in some stage.
Yeah, where was that? What day was that again?
Yeah, indeed. I've got a few more questions. What do I think of pound pairs? Look, I'd really like to know what's going on in London, to be fair. Well, it looks like we've been triggered short. So we've got to cancel the long now, guys. So get rid of that. Close, sell, no. It's not what I want to do at all. And we're staying on an hourly chart, don't forget. So we're going to trail on an hourly chart. We don't trail this bar because it's the trigger bar. But the next 2 seller bars that we get, we trail on those, all right?
Was there news? Sorry, Jeff, was there news? Was Forex Factory, was there news coming up?
I did have a look at Forex Factory earlier, and there was no news. And that's the cue for a song. Do you know the song? No news today.
No news today? No,
No.
no.
See,
No,
I come up with
again, I'm sort of more the Abbott era.
I did an ABBA thing week before last, or week before that, whenever.
Oh, you've gone very soft.
Sorry?
You've gone very soft. Come back,
Right.
come back.
Got it. My mind is racing in the other direction, and it shouldn't be. So no, there's no news that should have caused that move. It is simply the market telling us that it is weak. Let me have a quick squeeze around the pound pairs, and if I've got me up here, this is not my chart. This is not my normal computer situation, guys, as you're now aware. Euro pound looks weak, I'd have to say. So I'm tipping a stronger pound there. Pound yen. Yeah, it's got to get through this level, hasn't it? And it's hanging around the monthly pivot. I'm not up to speed with the pound. I've got to know what's happening with Brexit. I've got to know what's happening with COVID.
Okay, Jeff.
Yes, mate.
I don't know if it's anybody else, but I can barely hear you now.
Okay, how about everyone else? Can I be heard? And if
Have
not,
you gone?
I better. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that was better. You just sort of drifted off until it sounded like you're at end of the hallway in the bathroom.
Okay, well, I haven't moved. I'm actually sitting on the bed here. Sound cut out. Oh, it must have cut out. Slightly better.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where the microphone is on this thing. So I don't know where to talk. Hang on, I'll turn the headset around. Okay, is that any better? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lots of echo. Something problematic.
Can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me, but it's not great. All right, I'll use a different headset when we do the US show.
Okay.
So look, pound. I don't know about you. Have you got anything on the pound?
Well, the pound is trying to break it. Can you go to a daily and actually
pound dollar?
Pound dollar daily, and you'll just see it. That's horrible hourly chart. There we go. So it's bounced off that monthly pivot. Is that your monthly? Yeah.
That is the monthly pivot.
Yeah. So we've had high test bar followed by a doji, followed by where we're sitting now, where it's gone up, retested that level, and come back down again, and it's just sitting. That's what you saw on the hourly. Julian's take on the pound is that he believes it's going to go stronger. It's going to get stronger. A lot of money is being spent with. They announced a big plan for infrastructure spending in the UK, and
yeah, they did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So they were looking to ramp things up. They reckon there's some of the trade deals that they're doing post Brexit with other countries looking good, etc., etc. Whether I believe that, I mean, I looked at the trade deals that they're going to have to do to make up for the benefits they were receiving from being within the EU, and they're going to have to do a lot of trade deals.
Yes,
trying to make that up. Yeah. So that's the thing. So Julian's take is that it's the pound's, his outlook for the pound is strong and to improve. I know last week it was pound Aussie long after a double bottom on the daily.
Yep.
And so, but to me, like, it's a bit like the euro. The euro has stagnated. The dollar yen has stagnated. Aussie went a bit sideways until this morning, and then it's taken off this morning. So yeah, there's just look at that. Stagnating.
But it was still at this massive support level, and when I left, I had a similar opinion that it could rally, but to where is the big question, and that remains the big question. I suppose if you put a trend line in place, That might give you a clue. I'll put a trade line in its place instead. That seems to be the clue to me. So I'd be okay. There's a bit of a confluence sitting there. Yeah, I think it can rally. And, you know, again, that's based purely on this technical chart, nothing else. And if there's a whole lot more, if there's a whole lot more stuff going on that would support this, which seems to be the case, then yeah, I got no problem with the long side of the pound at all.
Yeah.
And
so
of course,
Julian
Julian
indicated the fundamentals.
Yeah, this chart's telling us we're at historic lows. It's a monthly chart I'm looking at. Don't forget.
Yeah.
We ain't been here too often, if at all.
We did back to, yeah, I was going to say the last time we were down that neck of the woods, 2000 well, it must be 16.
Yeah, let's give it there. Yeah, September of 2016. So there's no surprise we're seeing a little bit of a bump here, but again, how big the bump is questionable. Shukri, you're saying that there's a ceiling at 128.50, or there's a key level, 128.50. Let's have a look at that. 128.50 is about there. So you've got resistance here. You've got a whole mess of support and resistance through here. There's support here. There's support here. So you see where you're coming from. So let's see what happens when we get there. There's a fair way to go. If you're thinking of trading intraday, then perhaps you're looking for maybe a little bit of a pullback here to the weekly pivot, and that will then fill in a range for you. So you could then start to look at 30-minute charts. And when we get there, you can start thinking, all right, how do I trade this little sucker? So we put our rectangle around the field, and I'll probably go to there even and pull that back here. So maybe that low. That makes sense to me. So guys, what you're looking for here, in my humble opinion, certainly from a technical point of view, is hit the daily pivot, come back and hit maybe around about our entry level. There's no real level there, but in that vicinity would be okay. Lower high in this area would certainly get me interested short, in particular if the daily pivot was taken out. So if we got to close below the daily pivot, then a rally back to here or retracement back to here, put in a lower high here, then I'd be definitely willing to trade that short down to the bottom of the range, which isn't coinciding with the weekly pivot. Look at the monthly chart. Can I do that? Let me have a look, see. There's your level there, share. That's what I was looking at. Yeah. I got you, mate. I got you. Singapore upgrades getting shot out. Ainsley, Singapore upgrades.
Singapore.
Yeah, Helen's, was it Helen? Helen, yeah. She said to you, yup, true Ainsley and those, oh, sorry, 5G. 5G, not Singapore. SG, 5G.
Oh, 5G.
Got it, got it.
Upgrades, I wish.
My mother warned me about that when I was younger.
Oh.
So there you go. I think we're okay to be bullish on the pound, guys, at the moment, which is not great for our entry this morning. But go back to what I've just said. You know, you can expect to go down before you can go up here, I believe. So I'd be happy to trade it short, but I'd stop there. That would do me. And then on the small time frames, look to go long. So I'm okay with that. What else is going on, eh?
What else? One of the things Julian brought up last night was dollar yen, because I was saying dollar yen's just driving me absolutely insane at the moment, because it's just been,
Oh, me
it's
too.
almost lost its blooming pulse there, hasn't it? But he was saying keep an eye on it next week.
This is Jules.
Next week. This is Jules. This is a market cycle. This is a keep an eye on it next week with dollar yen.
Short?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been.
Yes.
I've been trying to get short this thing for ages.
Oh, I know. Look at those two beautiful. There was you go back 3 bars and it's like bang, 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 and you just sort of think, yep, time to go short, and it wasn't.
Well, you're still in the game though.
I didn't go in there. I was adding to my position on gold. I was a bit overloaded.
Fair enough. Lewis, yes, my favourite. I hate it. It's a dreadful thing on the smaller time frames in particular.
Well, look at that on a daily. It looks like a picket fence, except for that bomb, 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 bomb. So it went straight up and then turned around and came straight back down again, straight to that level.
Yeah, like what's that all about? If that's sort of sign that something's going short, and this, but it didn't. As you say, just sanction.
I mean, nothing. Yep. I mean, we want volatility, because when there's volatility, that's great. We've got far more opportunities than you do if it's completely, pulseless. But seriously, come on, guys, pick a direction and just run with it.
Yeah, not happening, is it?
No.
You're telling us this market cycle, and Larry Williams is telling us that the 21st of July is the time we're looking at. Okay, let's see if we can line up this.
So that's Tuesday next week.
Yeah, I'll probably still be here.
Just sitting on a plane out on the airport.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Out on the tarmac. Yeah, due to inclement weather.
Okay. Yeah, we're having a big storm here, guys, in the next couple of days. I'm due to go back home tomorrow, and the big winds and big rains due to hit tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to sitting on a tarmac waiting.
And they won't take off in big winds, will they?
No, they will not. And all the weather's to the south. And guess where I'm headed? Stop laughing.
Oh, you love Sydney.
I actually don't, to be honest. Great place to visit.
I know. But we're here, so enjoy it.
Yes, indeed.
Well, as well as you can. I was trying to say, and because you came through Melbourne, and you're about 20, 25 minutes away from me.
Yeah, not far away.
And we can't catch up.
No. Well, obviously I've been sitting next to my mother's bed for the last week. So.
Yeah, but you came through Melbourne, and you're not COVID compliant.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's not true. You're allowed to transit.
Yeah, you would have picked up something though, I reckon.
Oh, thanks. full of confidence. But I've got to isolate when I get home. I can't do anything when I get home. Yeah, Lewis, thank you, but she won't get better, mate. It's not a case of getting better. It's a case of just sending her off, really, at the end of the day. 92 years, and that's enough. She's had enough. Pick a direction and run with it, as long as the plus direction, I guess. Indeed, that's exactly it. As long as you're winning, it doesn't matter. That's
all we hope for, is that we're in the right direction. So, you look at going through the majors there, just if you run through those majors and look at.
I'm doing it now.
The lack of
not a whole lot going on.
Yeah. Euro.
Sideways.
Yep.
God, dollar yen looks dynamic compared to the other.
I was going to say, now in comparison, I've been whinging and carrying on about dollar yen. It actually looks like the liveliest of the lot.
Well, here's a go. I like this. I've got a bit of a structure here. Let's see what's going on. This is dollar Swissy. Dollar Swissy, you would be expecting well, I'd be expecting from a fundamental point of view for this to disappear off the chart, but it doesn't appear to be doing that so far. Got through that level, but yeah, it's a messy thing too.
Yeah, it's messy, and it's going to be messy while you got euro and pound going sideways as well.
Look at that. That's a monthly chart, man. Oh man! Wow. Move on.
I was going to say that's exciting.
Yeah, move on. Dollar CAD.
Oh,
I must find my entry in this.
that's fine. Your
Obviously,
entry.
it's way back here. You
Oh my
guys must.
God.
Some of you guys must remember, surely.
Please, somebody tell me where I am.
When did I get in? It's a while ago. And it would have been a 4-hourly or daily chart, probably a daily chart. This looks more interesting.
Look familiar? Anything ringing bells?
That bar is. But there's the entry there. Wouldn't be that bar.
Say, but yeah, but that bar hasn't triggered you in.
That bar looks interesting also.
Oh, are you being Harry Hindsight here and just saying I picked that?
Well, I did. I traded the damn thing, so that may well have been that bar. Oh, that's 4 weeks ago. I don't know. I'll go back and have a look at my journal in the break and probably talk about that later on. But Aussie Kiwis got me a little bit confused. Not confused. Nah, not really. Well, it was due to have a little retrace. I'm okay. I think we'll be all right. Because I think I've got the right plan on Aussie Kiwi. Euro Pound's one I wanted to get back into. I was in Euro Pound for the longest time, had some fun with that. But it hasn't really given me a reason to get back in until there, but no entry, and then it went bang. I'd like to see it come back to here, I think. Have a look at that. That'd be interesting. What else, guys? What else is going on? Sweet. Daily false break on the 30th of June. Thank you, Sweetie. 30th of June, a couple of weeks ago. Let's see what we have. 30th of June.
That'll be the day after the 29th.
Only this year, because of leap year.
June's got nothing to do with a leap year.
Are you kidding?
Nothing to do with your tax return.
That was my first wedding anniversary.
Do you remember it?
No, it's completely not memorable. 30th of June's there. So we would have played a false break of resistance on a daily chart. So the only way through there would have been that way, but we haven't had a false break. I can't find it. Entry's got to be up here somewhere.
When you look at your trade terminal, it'll give you the date and time you went into the trade.
Oh, if I do that, I'll lose everything.
So when you go back and look at your trade terminal, you can have a guess.
Yeah, I'll find it.
You'll find it.
I'll find it. Okay. False break. Can't see the false break though. Not on a daily chart. What else we got, guys?
Well, obviously, you know, the only other two that I'd look at would be the gold and the oil, but that's probably not something that you guys look at.
Yeah, they do. These guys are unbelievable. They trade everything.
Excellent.
There's two flies climbing up a wall. I reckon they'd trade it.
Have you? Oh, we'll do that. But I prefer if you had XTI on your symbol.
I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, XTI.
That's better numbers to be looking at.
Oh, I've got no tools here. My God. Options, no, that's not what I want. View is what I want. Toolbars, standard, that'll be a good start. There we go. WTI.
XTI.
XTI, sorry, yeah.
XTI USD. Excellent.
You're really making me work here, I've got to say. My fingers are going nuts. What do we want? We want a template of sorts. There we go. Righto.
Now,
Daily.
that's a poor Ali, but look at that jumping around all over the place. So you got that really big dip at the end of last week because people were saying, oh, COVID, there's going to be another scare with COVID coming. And everything just went. And then they said, no, it's not as bad as they thought. And it came back up again. It was just like, I'm reading these reports and just thinking, are you serious? But look at it. It's come back and it's traded the gap. It's closed the gap that we saw there at the beginning of March. But other than that, it's really struggling to find any kind of direction at the moment. The big thing coming up this week is the 15th of July. There is another big OPEC meeting on the 15th of July. And that marks the end of the 2 months where they had that huge restriction and cut 9.7 million barrels per day from production. However, there's a few of the countries that want to ease the restrictions and they want to get back to pumping to normal. Just like, did anybody forget to send these guys the memo that the world is about to shut down? Yeah. We've got a bit of a problem here, guys.
Well, they've been talking to Donald, obviously.
Oh, they must be. Because last week, Saudi Arabia actually increased, and I think they're just trying to rip the Chinese off. Their Chinese contract, they increased by $1 a barrel to China. There'll be retaliation. You don't do that kind of thing. You make a deal. You don't slide the teacups around once once you're underway. They did that, but Saudi released a statement this morning saying that they are very hopeful that the meeting on the Friday, on the 15th of July, will result in everybody agreeing to continuing restricted quotas. Good luck with that, because a couple of the countries have already said, Russia has already said they do not want to comply. Libya have already been told to stick to their numbers and stop being naughty, all that kind of stuff. So that's coming up. So imagine about 15th is Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, if you're in oil or trying to get a position on oil, I would wait until that was over, until that meeting's over and the result of that meeting has got something. Because the other thing that you'll have immediately after that is the crude oil inventories on, it's about 12:30 Sydney time, so 10:30 Singapore time, on Thursday, 12:30 a.m. that is, Sydney, Thursday morning.
Yep.
Crude oil inventory. So there's a lot happening in a very short period of time, Wednesday, Thursday morning. So if anybody's taking oil trades or looking for positions, just be aware of that and be across that when you come to that.
Very good.
So
guys.
yeah. And the Aussie is doing what?
Yeah, I'm having a look at that. There's a little indication that the false break might be on to the high side. So we're looking to trade it short, but I'm not happy with the candle, nor am I happy with trading at that level. So if you look at that level there, it has been strong support, resistance, strong resistance, strong resistance. Now we're on the other side of it. I really don't want to trade this short. It looks very much like going the other way to me. So it's a no from me, I think. Now, that said, there is, and had this been a stronger bar, and this is the whole point of the strategy that I use, you see. If this was a stronger bar and we closed up here somewhere, I would then have been willing to trade this short. And the reason is it gives me a bit of an insurance policy that if what I just said is to be true, that this support level, this former support level, former resistance level becomes support, then this should bounce and go to new highs. But if that's not right, I've got plenty of time for the market to decide as it comes back at me if it is actually willing to go short, as this bar would potentially indicate. So it's a bit of an insurance policy to have this bar close up here, because if the bulls are really taking back over, that'll keep going. But if they're not, then they're going to be wrong here, and these guys will come back in and we'll get something down to here. That's the whole idea of the strategy. But I don't like the bar because it's a bit of a spinning top. It's either way. It's really not telling me anything. And it doesn't give me enough room to be wrong. And that's what I need. I need room to be wrong. It's called an insurance policy, or what I call it anyway. And Helen's telling me that the Aussie's been up and down all morning, and yeah, balanced to the upside, of course, but I can see where you're coming from, definitely. There's no question about that. I have a quick whip around the grounds and see if I can see anything setting up on the 30s. Nothing there yet. This is the same kind of structure that the Aussie's got. If you put that little trade line in there, you can see we're not back at it yet. So there's no way to go here, or nowhere to go here. Dollar yen, let's have a little bit of fun and have a look at the 30-minute chart on dollar yen, and then close it very quickly because I'm not interested. That looks to be a pretty strong bull run, so you'd be expecting it to go to here. There is a bit of a confluence there with weekly pivot and that low that you can see here. So I reckon if you're in that long on a small time frame, you've probably got a fair chance of getting there, I would have thought. A little bit of a double bottom and a higher low, but no real entry bar there for me, so not interesting. The pound seems to be solid to the downside, but you will note where we are. We're at the daily pivot, another form of resistance level similar to the euro, similar to the dollar, similar to the Aussie. So you'd be expecting a little bounce here. Whether it's strong enough to take it to new highs is another story. I think what I'd like to see, as I said before, a lower high in this vicinity, and I'd be willing to trade it down to here and there only. I don't want to go any further than that. So that's where I'd definitely be looking to take profit down at the weekly pivot. Dollar Swissy, interesting place to bounce from. Gee, it's tough to get this one. Same as dollar yen, really tough. Looks to be a bit of a breakout of the resistance area though. But look where it is. Daily pivot, weekly pivot. That's a no-no. So you've got a bit of an issue there. So I'll move on. Aussie we've spoken about, and you would be taken into that short had you chosen to do so. Not a great level to be getting in at though, as I said before. Looking for the future with this one. Yeah, good question. Again, I see a range. Small time frame. So you're getting into here somewhere, maybe into there. And maybe you can even tighten the top up a bit. Yeah, I'd want to see it hit that high. I'd want to see it hit that level again before I went short, if I wanted to go short. And I'm not a massive fan, but what I do see setting up here is the potential for this to come back to the pivots, put in a higher low, and then take us to these highs again. So that would look like, for me, doesn't matter if it's this candle or the next 10, if we can make our way down here and put in a significant, what I call a significant higher low, that looked something like that would be okay. Something like Yeah, there's nothing that's really suitable. Something like that would be okay. Sitting in this position in the pivots. So maybe opening above the weekly, closing or spiking down to the daily and closing somewhere in between the two. Then I would look to trade that long. So that's Aussie US dollar. Dollar CADs, like a lot of these, does look to be a little bit strong at the moment. Which direction you're following obviously determines which colour bar you got, but they look to be strong bars at the moment. So the market has a little bit of a statement right now. Dollar CAD, if I'm looking to trade this at all, then I'm probably looking for this kind of structure. False break, as you know, is my favourite way to play. But you've got a terrible noisy area here with monthly pivot, weekly pivot, trend line all together. You've got to get clear of this area. There's too much noise in there or too much support resistance to actually get anywhere. I think I'd favour a breakout and retest here, or as always, breakout, get back underneath, then retest, but it's going to be very, very tight to trade short there. So I don't think I'd want to be trading short that pair at all. Sitting with Aussie all morning, slide ups and downs. That's Helen still talking about. I'm way back. I've got some funny little things happening on my chart here. Not my chart, on my YouTube channel. I've got all these faces, and I've got no idea what people are saying to me. How do I get rid of the faces? I can't. SF for long on what, mate? What do you want me to look at? You're saying for long. I don't know which chart you're talking about.
The chart, any chart.
It may well be the Aussie, but I don't know. If you can just tell me what chart that is, FF. So, Ains, we're not going to hang around much longer. There's really, and I'm not right into it yet because I'm not up to speed. But what I see at the moment is nothing that really doesn't really enthuse me anyway. Please have a look at possible long trade for EuroCAD M30. EuroCAD M30. I will have a EuroCAD chart somewhere on this machine, I'm sure. Or not. Doesn't matter, we'll create one.
This is funny. I just looked at my chart, and I don't go down onto 30 minutes. I stop at 1 hour.
There you go. Well, the strategy that I trade is something that I've worked on over many years, which was born on a 30-minute chart. So that's kind of why I'm a 30-minute person, because it's the habit I got into, I suppose. But more so lately, I find I'm trading daily and weekly charts, which is, of course, where old people go, because we don't like the excitement
of the 5-minute chart.
Exactly.
I don't like excitement. I like quiet. I like it going in the one direction.
Yep.
Preferably my direction.
Always.
I'm not
30-minute chart. No, it just needs to go with me. What are you seeing, Sino, that I'm not seeing here? I see a little trade line coming through here. Maybe you're looking at that bar. I don't know. Let me have a look. I can see that bar's a potential. But we're going to put your stop now. You've got to put your stop down here somewhere. What else have we got? Nothing else there I really get a hold of. There's no trade line through here. You've got to go back to there. It's too steep. No, I can't see it. What are you seeing, Sino? Tell me what you're seeing. Cable, breakout trade short, looking good from Lewis. Okay. Yeah, except we're trailing on an hourly chart for this particular session, Lewis. So it's got to get through that daily pivot, obviously. And we can't trail yet, I don't think. Swissy yen. Goodness me. What are we doing on Swissy yen? Why have I got that there? Let me get rid of all that. Sorry, you go, eh?
I was just going to say, I used to trade the Swissy yen a lot.
Do you?
It wasn't until somebody did, and I just went, oh. I don't trade it so much now, but
What do we see? Okay, so you're looking at a weekly pivot bounce, I guess, is what you're looking for. I see it the other way. I actually see it as a short potential, and I'll show you why. And I don't know how long it is since I looked at the Swissy yen chart, but to me it looks a bit toppy. And to me, if that bar were to close up here somewhere, it would look very much like a false break of that area. Could I trade it? Oh, you'd want to have big kahunas because you're trading straight at the monthly pivot.
yeah, so there's a lot happening there in no man's land, isn't it?
There is, but I see a clear false break on top of a double top.
I was going to say you've got a double top, but yeah, boy, you've got to get through a little bit
but
of
absolutely super support underneath. Yeah. Really tough to go short there. Tell you what I'd like to see, Lewis, if I was looking to trade that. I would like to see maybe go out. No, I won't go out to a weekly chart. I would like to see, turn this upside down. And go this way. So let's get rid of all this noise here, break it that way, then come back and test it again. Then I could definitely be talked into a short. 8-4 have a good 2 to 3 to 1. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, again off the weekly pivot. That's what you're talking about, I guess here. So that's a trend trading scenario. Not one. I do like the bar though. I see where you're coming from. But again, you're talking to the monthly pivot. What about the daily? What about last week's weekly, which has also got, there's a lot of noise here. There. That's also a bit of a level you've got to get through. So I'm with you from a directional bias, but she was, I reckon she's a bit on the risky side to go short at the moment. And you've got the trend line there as well. But on a smaller time frame, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I get it, but you've still got support everywhere. I think that's my issue. That is my issue. Euro yen 84. This will probably be the last one, guys. Euro yen 84. Get rid of that. Okay. Let me have a look at the bigger picture first. Again, you've got the situation where the pivots are really dictating terms here. And the weekly, as you can see, hasn't been left alone for the longest time. Gets a bit away from it, comes back to it, gets away from it, comes back to it. I can see this continuing. That's what I can see. Let's put some boundaries. You're still locked inside there. So I can't see a clear way, mate.
I was going to say, even if you put horizontals on that, Jeffy, you're not going to get, you're backwards and forwards, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much in the last hour since I've been back in front of a chart is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a whole lot of noise. I'm seeing a lot of pivots running the show, and I'm seeing a lot of indecision, I suppose is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Till pivot. CNJ, what does till pivot mean? Can we take low test bar as entry? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Here you mean trade underneath, sure. There are worse things to do. Absolutely worse thing. And you do have some shots over the bow here. You've got this one pulling back away. That's one of our favourites. We've got that one again. So it is telling us. I see what you're saying. Till monthly pivot. Monthly pivot is up here. Long. No, I couldn't trade that long. Not right now. I've got to get clear of the trend line, monthly pivot. I couldn't trade it long, mate.
You can't trade it at all. just leave it alone.
My mother always used to tell me that as well.
No, leave it alone.
We've got CA. You're mostly daily chart person, and these guys are talking smaller time frames. So
yeah, and I'm having a heart attack. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to have heart palpitations over here. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I guess, like I said, I'm not into the excitement. I'm into I'll sit and wait. I'll wait for a better setup. I trade less, and given the account size that I trade, my holding costs start to really
are expensive. Yeah.
It's not $6 in and $6 out or anything like that. Oh, I wish it was. My holding costs are, and a couple of times I've had to close my gold trades because my holding costs, while it's been consolidating, has nearly
it's too expensive.
Yeah, it's nearly chewed up 0.5% of my profit. So
that's crazy.
you just got to, and it becomes, this is where it becomes, and because I trade that size and I trade other accounts as well, I've got to sit back and I've got to look at it from a very business perspective as well, with profit and loss, holding costs, and all those things. It's just,
well, if we're not doing that, we're playing some other game anyway. That's exactly what we need to be doing.
Yeah, you're just taking a trade for the sake of it, but I can't do that because I need to be really consistent as long as I can. So so and that's, as you said, I don't need the excitement. I go for less trades. There's a group of us that trade together, and I will probably trade the least out of the four of us. I trade the least. And yet I've whipped them for the last 4 quarters, every quarter, by a long way.
And you guys will get there as well, because it really is the way the elephants go, isn't it? Towards the where do they go? Behind the waterfall, where they have to retire. I know that's very obtuse in terms of an image, but what I'm really saying is, when you've been trading for quite some time, you'll get to a point in your trading career where you think, do I really need to sit in front of a 30-minute chart for 2 or 3 hours a day? And unless you're like me, who does.
I was going to say, but you're just a spring chicken.
Yeah, compared to Methuselah.
I also have to balance it off with, as I said, I look at it from a very strategic point of view with the costs and the business costs. And the other thing, I'm a mum. I've got 2 kids I'm running around after. And
that's the point. We've got to suit our lifestyle.
And that's what you do it for.
Yep, that's why you do it. And my lifestyle dictates that I can have a couple of hours in front of the charts this time of day, and a couple of hours in front of the charts when the US opens, and that's the way I prefer to trade. And of course, in the mornings, I have a look at the daily and the weekly charts, and I'll be doing that tomorrow. Those of you who are subscribed to my TTR sessions, apologies for last week again, but we'll make that up. We'll definitely make that up to you. Hey, I've got to go.
Me too. Got to get that lamb on
Hell yes.
the bar.
And I've got dinner on the table pretty much as well. So, guys, thank you for your patience. It's a little bit of a get back into the swing of things session for me, I've got to say, and I have seen quite a few things that are telling me it's going to be interesting. Trying to find good trades, but we'll certainly be looking to do that in the US session. You're with me tonight, aren't you, 2A?
I'm with you. I'm with you tonight, and I've just got to pop in and say hello to some of our new mentorship students tonight as well. So
you're a busy girl.
Yeah. Oh, look, we had a really busy weekend, and Wei who joined us yesterday after 3 days online. It was really good 3 days. There was a lot of learning, lots of questions. I think Paul was absolutely wiped out last night. Oh,
right.
dear, he was. Because we had a lot of questions. It was a really good group who were really interactive. And yeah, so got some new people on board, and that's really exciting as well.
It absolutely always is. Love when fresh people are on and asking questions like they do, particularly in this show. I love this show for that reason. Everyone's prepared to ask the questions, and that Euro Yen scenario is looking far better, Sumi, than it was before. But I'll say this, from my trading strategy point of view and finding entries, that setup I like. The three candles I like, pulling back away from the resistance area, but it's also done it just prior to that. So this is again, you're getting to that noise area. If it's clean, you trade it. If it's not clean, you walk away and wait again and wait for the next scenario. And this is not clean. There's nothing clean here. That's all noise. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. And look, thank you so much for your patience today, getting into the show number one. I think we've now got that sorted. And tomorrow at this time, I hope to be in Hobart, but that's in the lap of the weather gods at the moment. If I'm not, who knows what might happen? But you guys will definitely have a show tomorrow.
They've been warned. It is unfortunate.
Yeah, look, you'll definitely have a show tomorrow. Ash has put up his hand and said he'll come back for the day. If I can't, so you'll definitely have a show tomorrow, and then for the rest of the week, I will definitely be on board and hopefully in a far better position to be able to use the technology that I don't have with me at the moment. And I'll tell you what,
done well.
It's really difficult to try and monitor questions and do control panels and all those sorts of things when you're on a small laptop. But thank you so much for stepping up and
not a problem
and sharing your wonderful knowledge about those precious metals and oils and all sorts of things. And we'll catch up with you.
No help with the smaller time frames at all, but
we'll train you on the 30-minute. No problem.
Good luck.
See you in about 4 hours and 30 minutes.
Okay, take care. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, bye, everyone, and thanks for your patience. Most appreciated. Bye-bye. Now.